second button is the key button. It literally makes or breaks the shirt. Look at it. It's too high. It's in no man's land.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie.
Dragon Ball Z. It's hard to imagine that since its release in the US in 1998 that it would go on to spawn a line of games, merchandise, and other series, but more importantly gaming. You see, in the early days of Dragon Ball games, they mostly looked like this. Horrible. I know. But then on December 3rd, 2002, Atari released Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the PlayStation 2. Now keep in mind, Budokai 1 at the time significantly raised the bar for what a Dragon Ball Z game could be, with full animated cutscenes, the first use of the American anime cast, and a roster of 23 characters spanning from the S.A.M to Cell Saga. Budokai 1 was a damn good game, but it wasn't without its flaws. For starters, you can't launch a special attack on command. You can only launch it after a string of attacks before it. Also, since when is Goku's Kamehameha yellow? I mean, they even show it in the Cell Saga with the father-son Kamehameha. I mean, what were they thinking? I mean, you might as well make Piccolo's special beam cannon red. Next, the combat can get very stale, as it mostly boils down to a button mashing fest, and the same punch-kick special combo that can get boring very quick. They did, however, have the inclusion of what-if scenarios, duel mode, and tournament mode. Overall, not a bad game, but little did we know then the kind of crap sequel they were planning next. Released the following year, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 was met with subpar reviews, and for good reason. The game felt more like an expansion instead of a full-fledged sequel. You could now launch Ki Blast on command, and they actually made the Kamehameha blue. They also added cel-shaded character models which make them look more defined, but the colors are kinda dull. The capsule system is back with the inclusion of fusion capsules and what-if fusions, along with an updated roster mostly from the Buu saga. The combat is mostly copy and paste from Budokai 1 with the inclusion of ultimate attacks and charge attacks. Now onto what really makes this game suck, the story mode. But you may be wondering, but Sam, how could they possibly mess up the kick-ass animated cutscenes we saw in Budokai 1? Well, loyal fan, I'll tell you. Board game. Yes, you heard me right. Budokai 2 uses a board game setup to tell its story, and a crappy attempt at that. When you play a board game like checkers, you plan out your moves and their strategy to it. Not in this case. You're better off just moving up and beating the crap out of your opponent. Sure, there's the inclusion of the armor and health pieces, but they don't really do crap for you. So yeah, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 was not at all worth the $60 price tag put on it at the time. With that being said, sometimes game developers can go back and use the criticism to make the sequel better, or flop again. So how did Atari come back in their next sequel? By making a fucking masterpiece! Released November 16, 2004, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 is the best Dragon Ball Z game made to this day. I remember getting this game as a kid and playing the ever-living hell out of it with my dad and my cousins. But enough reminiscing, let me explain why. For starters, they drastically improved the combat system. No more of this button mashing crap. Now you can use counterattacks by timing left and X on the D-pad, which can really turn the tide in battle. They also added Hyper Mode, which can be used to launch an ultimate attack or Dragon Rush. Dragon Rush is basically a rock paper scissors game that if landed perfect can do some serious damage to your opponent, or if you have the right capsule equipped, can unlock a special ultimate attack. I know what you're thinking, but Sam, doesn't it look similar to Budokai 2? Well, yes. But you know what? Sometimes we have to give up something for something. They greatly expanded the roster with the inclusion of characters from every series at the time, like Kid Goku from Dragon Ball and Omega Shenron from GT. They even had the inclusion of GT transformations and fusions, such as Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Goku and their fusion Gogeta. Budokai 3 fixed the stupid-ass board game story mode from the previous game and introduced Dragon Universe. Here you pick a character and play the sagas from their perspective and collect capsules specific to their moveset. And again, I know what you're going to say, but Sam, this doesn't look as cool as the animated cutscenes in Budokai 1. Well, shut up! Sometimes we have to give up something for something! But seriously, Dragon Universe goes for this somewhat open world setting where you can explore and find secret capsules and Dragon Balls to use to unlock breakthrough versions of characters, which basically unlocks every moveset that they have. You can also search specific areas to trigger special fights that unlock characters like Broly and Cooler, which gives for some replayability. But I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah. Ultimate attacks and beam struggles! Budokai 3 added beam struggles where if both players launch their special attack at the same time, it goes into a mode where you need to beat the ever-living shit out of the joystick to power over the other player. Now on to my favorite part, the ultimate attacks. As explained earlier, you enter Dragon Rush to launch them, and from there you go to a minigame where you press X when the gauge is full to fill your meter. If you win, you unleash devastating damage to your opponent. If you lose, then they either dodge or block and receive little damage. How quickly your gauge fills is dependent on how much ki you had before launching and how much your opponent had. And my god, the super attacks are something to behold. Not only do you blow them straight to hell, but you take part of the planet with it. Like I said before, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 is the best DBZ game ever. No. Best Budokai 3, best fucking DBZ game ever. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the HD collection. Visually, this game looks amazing, but my only gripe is the loss of the original soundtrack. The composer Kenji Yamamoto was caught in between a lawsuit because some of the songs in the Budokai series sounded similar to Black Sabbath and others, but I mean, how can you compare this to this? I mean, seriously, if you're new to Budokai 3, then this shouldn't be a problem, but if you're like me and have played it originally on the PS2 first, then you know what I'm talking about. That's going to do it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for actually sticking through this stupid ass video. This was a project that I was really wanting to work on, and if y'all like seeing more stuff like this, please let me know in the comments below, and thank y'all for watching.